Throughout history, guilt has been one of the primary tools of the ruling class. At its core, guilt is self-condemnation. Condemnation is a powerful weapon when used against criminals in positions of power. Unfortunately, it is an even more powerful weapon when you yield it against yourself. This is Michael Berger with SolutionsForLiberty.com. One solution for liberty is to only allow yourself to feel guilty for things that are actually your fault. Because by the time it gets to the point where you are condemning yourself, it becomes very hard for anyone to come to your defense. Here's what got me thinking about all this. A few days ago, someone mentioned to me that she was having problems covering expenses. She referred to these problems as adulting struggles. Adulting? This was so shocking to me that I was speechless. I had no idea what to say. The person who said this to me was a grown-ass woman who was like 40 years old. Look, I'm all for personal accountability, okay? But the cost of living was already through the roof back in 2019. And that was before the COVID con doubled prices overnight. Us slaves were already working hard as we could back in 2019. Now, a few years later, we are being asked to pick twice as much cotton as before. You know, if you take a minute to think about the word adulting and the idea behind it, the ruling class must just love this word. I mean, think about it. Isn't it better for the elite if they can get you to blame yourself rather than blaming them? Isn't it better for the elite if they can get you to drive a pitchfork into your own heart versus whatever the alternative might be? Adulting. We're talking about someone who works full-time plus. Full-time! And yet our society is structured in such a way that all the wealth is siphoned out by a few criminals at the top. I mean, how can you be working full-time in the wealthiest country that has ever existed and then be told that there's not enough money to pay you? It's bullshit. So what then? Are we supposed to start blaming ourselves if we make a financial mistake in a system that is rigged against us? Of course we are going to make a financial mistake once in a while. Everybody does. Are you telling me that people who grew up in the 50s and 60s didn't make financial mistakes? So then how come things worked out so well for them, huh? What people today don't seem to realize is that our society has been being changed deliberately over time. It is now scientifically engineered to screw over the majority of the population, with people on the bottom half of the pyramid being underpaid deliberately so that people at the top can be overpaid. The truth is, if you are in the bottom 50% when it comes to income, even if you were somehow able to avoid making any financial mistakes for your whole life, even if you did everything right, you still wouldn't have the level of health care, home ownership, and retirement savings that were enjoyed by past generations. Not even close. And so why were people in the past so much better off financially? Was it because of technology? Was it because they had better technology? We should be way better off now. But we're not. We're not. Now, allow me to get back to this idea of adulting, because I would like to destroy this concept in its entirety. Yes, there are indeed many baby boomers who were hardworking and responsible and became multimillionaires. Some of them were even able to do this while being employees. But I also know a lot of baby boomers who are not nearly as hardworking as younger generations today, and yet with a better outcome: home ownership, retirement, and even healthcare. These are things that most people in Gen Z will never ever have without a full reset of local, state, and federal governments. Anyone who pretends otherwise is lying to you. Now, you want to talk about adulting? A lot of these baby boomers were out of the workforce for years, riding the Magic School Bus, going to music festivals, stoned out of their fucking minds day and night, living in hippie communes in the woods or panhandling in the streets for years. Years! I know some of these people. Then they went back to work in the mid-70s after a few years became homeowners, often with nothing more than a high school diploma. Imagine living for a couple years in a nudist colony on the beach in California. Then one day you decide to put on some clothes and go to McDonald's to get a job. And within a few years you're able to buy a home. On the other hand, today we have people in the younger generations who, even if they never miss a day of work in their life, will never own a home. And so why are we still telling people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps when that world no longer exists? Yes, people who are highly intelligent, hardworking, and enjoy good health can still do well today, especially if they are beneficiaries of college funds or inheritances. But the bottom line is that the vast majority of people are not doing well, and they never will do well if we continue down the path that we are on. It used to be that having a high school diploma allowed you to earn a living wage. Today, a bachelor's degree has basically become the new high school diploma, only it costs $100,000. You want to charge me $100,000 for a high school diploma and then turn around and tell me that I gotta pull myself up by my bootstraps? Fuck you. Most people aren't having problems adulting. They're under financial attack.